and welcome back to your favorite segment over here on my channel. And of course, to a certain degree, it's also one of my personal favorites, Out of the Vault. If you are new, let me just say welcome. It is a pleasure to have you. And for all of you returning, I really want to give you a bit of an apology. I was hoping that for the final episode of this year's Out of the Vault, I still cannot believe that it has now been over 10 years since I've been giving you guys videos in which I'm reviewing movies that are connected with Disney. But I was planning to come today to you to give you a review of the newest Disney canon classic, Moana 2. There were intentions and plans to see this movie on opening weekend, but unfortunately, the family got attacked by a ravenous stomach virus, and by the time we were planning to go see it, meaning my wife and I, it was my daughter who was dealing with the suffering, and we had to cancel all of our plans. We even had to come home from our Thanksgiving travels because my daughter was in so much pain and discomfort, and we decided that Moana 2 was going to have to wait until another time. And there is pretty much no chance that I am going to be able to see this movie before the year is over. So there still has to be an Out of the Vault episode to bring to you today, guys, because it has been a while since I have given you an episode of Out of the Vault. So anticipate a Moana 2 review in early 2025. Today, we're actually going to be going back into the world of Pixar, and this is a very special review for me because I have already reviewed this movie for you way back in the day when I first saw it back in 2012, and that, of course, is the 13th Pixar film, Brave, starring Kelly Macdonald, Billy Connolly, Julie Walters, and Emma Thompson. And it is amazing to believe that this movie is 12 years old, and it is amazing to believe that I was actually making YouTube videos at the time. Boy, how time has flown. So it has also been a while since I've seen Brave, since I first purchased it on DVD for myself, and I do remember having a good time with it, but I am very curious to see, because one of the few things I like to do when it came to Disney films that were eventually going to be reviewed here, I wanted to see how I looked at the film back in the day when I first reviewed it. So let's see how much younger Law known.
If you just want to see a beautiful, meaningful, heartfelt movie that is good for any audience and person of any age, please see this movie. I'm giving Brave 4 out of 4.
Okay! I retract that. Stop, cease, desist. To a certain degree. Brave is still a very entertaining and wonderful film. I'm not going to lie about the fact that the Patrick Doyle score is wonderful, certain characters like Billy Connolly's Fergus, and of course the triplets are absolutely hilarious. The banter between Merida and her mother is definitely fun to enjoy, especially when her mother is in bear form. And I will definitely say something that I didn't see the first time, and it's the fact that I think one of the biggest appeals of this Pixar film is the comedy, because a lot of it is very physical. There are people that are doing funny things with their bodies, and there are lots of times where people are getting into crazy moments that are causing them to just spill over themselves, especially when Merida's mother first turns into a bear. It's so fun to watch, and it really is a mile-a-minute laughter, even though you really don't want to laugh at this character. The animation, of course, breathtaking, particularly all the details on the human characters. They hadn't really tackled many human characters since The Incredibles, and it was amazing to see how much the computer technology had come, especially when it came to the looks of the characters, the looks of the facial features, the looks of the hair, especially all the technology that was pretty much created for Merida's hair. But then we have to take a look at the story, and not saying that the story is bad, it's still good, there's still lessons to be learned, but over time I have had this conversation with my wife so many times, and it's the fact that this movie was a little bit sloppy, because of the fact that the movie was supposed to go in a certain direction at one point, and then it got a brand new director and it went to a completely different direction because there was whispers going around the Pixar studio saying that this may not be a hit for us. And considering what happened with Cars 2, they didn't want to have another subpar box office performance one after the other. So they had to go through a lot of changes. The story had to go through a couple of changes. And now that I've seen this movie after so many years, I see a little bit of the hodgepodge. Because it starts off with Merida being told that she needs to get married and she needs to be a princess and she needs to be ladylike, and then all of a sudden this whole thing with her and her mother just like getting their bond severed, and they have to mend the bond in order for the spell to break. It was definitely not the same movie at the end of it that it felt like it was at the beginning. But I think that the common thread, if you will, that ties both plots together is Merida making a statement about finding herself, and at the same time understanding the importance of her family and that her parents at the end of the day do mean well, when it really is her who is supposed to set the course on her own path for her fate. But with all that being said, I will definitely say that it is a good movie. I will say that it is kind of funny that as this movie tends to grow throughout time, if you will, how there's a lot of people that do poke fun at this movie. Even Disney itself, when you take a look at Ralph Breaks the Internet and the famous princess scene, which is definitely the best part of the whole movie, but it's hard to actually come to you guys today and basically show you this massive change in my perspective towards this film. I mean, look, I've watched it a few times. I own it on DVD because I own every Pixar film, good, bad, or indifferent, and this is a installment in the library, whether you like it or not. And I believe this movie also won Best Animated Feature, and I'm still trying to figure out to this very day why that happened, considering what it was up against. Especially taking a look at this movie now, 12 years after its debut in theaters, and how I felt about it then and how I feel about it now. What can I do, guys? That's me. This is my older self. This is fresh perspective on everything. I'm gonna give Brave 3 stars out of 4. It's not a bad movie. It's got moments, it's got beautiful animation, it's got memorable characters. But based on what I said about it back in 2012, I wish I could just go back in time, tap my past self on the shoulder and say, what are you smoking and can you please share it? Thank you very much for another wonderful year of Out of the Vault, everybody. Please leave your comments in the box below. Let's have a discussion about Brave. I'm looking forward to some more Out of the Vault episodes next year. And of course, you'll get one at the end of January, and that is my little special Disney treat premiere video every single year, and I'm looking forward to this year's choice that I made. I think you guys are really going to appreciate it. But in the meantime, everybody, have a wonderful holiday season, and I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, feel free to leave a comment. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to be up to date with our latest videos. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.